and I stand in support of Senator Dietrich's amendment. I'd like to begin that I think all bills have a purpose, or at least they should. They should address a need or a problem or contribute to the greater good of society. So I asked myself, what is the purpose of the Equity and Opportunity in Education tax credit in the 2019 tax bill? And the first thing that comes to mind is school choice, as Senator Chamberlain has pointed out on many occasions. But I would challenge the idea that we don't offer choice in Minnesota. In fact, we're known for choice. Minnesota already offers a number of options for families: charter schools, homeschooling, magnet schools, state academies, shared time, private schools, open enrollment between districts, and internally many districts offer a choice of schools through magnet programs. Post-secondary education options offer qualifying students the option to enroll in college courses offered at their home high schools, college campus, or online. And the state helps fund international baccalaureate programs, advanced placement programs, and in addition, public schools in Minnesota fund and provide transportation, textbooks, nursing, counseling, and special education services to private schools. The second thing I'd look at is student achievement. And I think taxpayers in Minnesota expect that any institution receiving public funding will be accountable for how those funds will be used and will follow all applicable state and federal laws and regulations. And this is really difficult to quantify in Minnesota, since private schools are not subject to the same accountability measures as public schools. We do not have a common measure to compare against public school students regarding some type of a testing measurement. Minnesota private schools are exempt from state testing requirements and also from reporting information on student progress or achievement. And although the state testing measurements such as the MCA scores are not required of private schools, the bill does have a testing component, but does not require a true comparison of requiring the same test results required of public schools. And then you have to look at studies. What do studies indicate? Well, there have been numerous studies going back even to the 1990s. Milwaukee, Cleveland, Washington, D.C., Arizona, Pennsylvania, Indiana, indicating that students receiving tax credit scholarships, vouchers, or any other types of public subsidized education funding do not outperform students in public schools. The Center for Tax and Budget Accountability, and I quote, has not found any statistical evidence that children who utilize vouchers or tax credit scholarships perform better than students who remained in public schools. Also look at education tax credits will allow lower income families to receive a tax credit and will benefit by receiving scholarships. And I point to a 2016 study by the Nonpartisan Institute on Taxation and Economic Policy issued a report, The State Tax Subsidies for Private K-12 Education. Here's a quote from that report. Rather than enhancing educational opportunities, tax subsidies for private education often benefit students already enrolled in private schools while reducing the amount of revenue for public schools. Worse still, they undermine support for public education and give credence to the false notion that citizens who send their children to private schools have no obligation to support public schools. What will be the fate of public school bonding and referendum proposals in the future if the public is not supportive? In 2015, the Center for Tax and Budget Accountability did an analysis of the Indiana School Choice Scholarship Program. Indiana students received tax credit supported scholarships were overwhelmingly from urban and suburban areas. 84% were from those areas, and over 60% were Caucasians. Research has also found that 80% of the tax credit scholarships are directed to students already enrolled in private schools. And a Stanford University study indicated test scores gains were insignificant. In 2016, there was a poll conducted by the Morris Letterman Company here in Minnesota. Over 60% of the Minnesotans opposed vouchers, tax credits for private religious schools. And this correlates with the national Phi Delta Kappa and Gallup poll of the public attitudes toward the public schools. Only 31% of the Americans favor allowing students and parents to choose a private school to attend at public expense. So what it comes down to, there are really 5 reasons to support Senator Dietzig's amendment. The first is that state revenue is being reallocated from potential general fund dollars away from public education, health and human services. These are basic support funding needs. Secondly, public education enrolls and educates all students. Private schools are not required to enroll special needs students, students with severe developmental, mental, and/or physical disabilities. Private schools choose who they will enroll, in some cases through an extensive admissions process requiring a review of academic transcripts, written essay, interview, in addition to a determination of how the student will enhance the private school body with special talents, maybe academic, co-curricular, or athletic. Third, private schools choose who they will disenroll without the due process requirements public schools must abide by. Private schools are not bound by integration regulations, teacher licensing standards and requirements. In fact, we found the major Tier 1 teachers that are teaching in our schools are in private and also charter schools. State curriculum standards or state testing, accountability testing is not a requirement. Fourth, there are a few accountability measures on how scholarships will be distributed. Senator Dietzig referred to this in one of her questions. The question is, who is responsible for review and enforcement? And finally, tax deductions and non-refundable credits are of no help to low-income families that earn too little to owe state taxes. Upper-income households and corporations would benefit the most from these scholarships, tax credit initiatives. So with that, Mr. President and chamber members, I would support Senator Dietzig's amendment. Thank you.